Hello my lovely rose garden, and welcome to Roselin Reviews. I'm Avalon Roselin, indie author, and your media analysis enthusiast for the evening. As always, I must be upfront with you. I am friends with the author of this work, as well as a fan of her videos here on YouTube. You might know her from such masterpieces as Lego Batman's subversive queer coding, or The Cut Song That Could Have Saved the Onceler, which I actually got to assist in researching, on the Sin Squad channel. Knowing that the author of this work loves in-depth media analysis, well, I had to do my best to honor her legacy. So while the spoiler-free section of this review will be much like the rest of Roselin Reviews, the spoiler section will be a little different, in a way I hope you'll all enjoy. Of course, the fact that we are friends does not affect my views on the book in any way, and I will be completely honest. And if Lynn doesn't like what I have to say, well, turnabout is fair play. Please. Without further ado, Bunnybirds is a stunningly gorgeous graphic novel about a winged bunny, Princess Aster, who goes on a quest to rescue her flock when she notices that they are disappearing from their peaceful homeland. On her journey, she meets Carlin, a rambunctious bunny bird that doesn't fit in with Aster's ideas of what bunny birds should be, and Feet, a sand dog traveling alone in the desert. As Aster travels, she reconsiders the traditions and rules she has always lived by and what joy really is. I cannot understate how incredible the artwork in this book is. If you've ever read the Warriors fan comic Twin Shadows, which is still available publicly on DeviantArt, you know how much effort Lynn puts into every panel. Some of my favorite pages of Twin Shadows are 113 through 117, 144, 231, and 260. Even though these pages are several years old at this point, they are phenomenal, and Bunnybirds offers even more refinement. The colors pop, the character expressions are fun and easy to read, and the environments capture the scale of the world perfectly. Oh, and did I mention that all the artwork was done traditionally with colored pencils and markers? Not only is this impressive, but it adds a texture that further enhances the depth of the art. There is no lack of depth in the story either. There are plenty of action scenes as Aster, Carlin, and Feet navigate the dangerous world of fantastical predators and wild landscapes, but the primary conflict of Bunnybirds is more internal. Not that Aster wants to admit that there's anything wrong with the principles the flock was founded on or how she's been living her entire life. As I was reading, I was reminded of epic fantasy stories from my childhood like Redwall, and the villain reminded me of King Haggard from The Last Unicorn, though I won't go into details about why. I am clearly excited to get to the spoiler section and deeper analysis of this text, and I'm not going to hold myself back anymore. You can see the scores that I gave this book for its writing, characters, plot, and setting. You know that I have a high opinion of it, and I strongly urge you to check it out. I've even included links to where you can purchase a copy in the description. And I must say that while I'm normally fine with people sticking around for the spoilers, I don't know how much you're going to get out of the spoilers section without having read the book first. So please do yourself the favor and go pick up a copy of Bunnybirds right now. Save this video in your watch later for after you've read it, and go get the book. If you are leaving the video now, please remember to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. I make videos about the books I read and the books I write, and your support really makes a difference for an indie author like me. If you're interested in supporting me even further, please consider buying my books or becoming a patron. You can find the links to my website, Patreon, Ko-fi, and social media accounts in the description. Now that you've got the basic gist of my reaction, and hopefully have read the comic yourself, because you are doing yourself a disservice if you don't, let's talk about societal expectations and toxic positivity. There are a few different angles I want to approach this topic with, and I'm not 100% confident in my ability to segue between them, so I'm just going to dive in and hope for the best. Forbes defines toxic positivity as an extreme version of optimism that typically shuts down, avoids, or dismisses negative experiences and emotions, forcing a cheerful front, usually by repeating vague sentiments. This is not the same thing as simply choosing to have a positive outlook despite bad circumstances. It is ignoring or downplaying those circumstances in a way that more closely resembles escapism or denial than seeing the glass half full. It is harmful to the individual, as psychologist Dr. Aaron Engel explains. Toxic positivity causes one to feel like their own emotions are invalid, gives a false sense of control over circumstance, limits emotional understanding, and can impact an individual's ability to cope in a healthy way by internalizing blame around having negative emotions. Now that you've got the basic gist of my reaction, and hopefully have read the comic because you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't, let's talk about societal expectations and toxic positivity. There are a few different angles I want to approach this topic with, and I'm not 100% confident in my ability to segue between them, so I'm just going to dive in and hope for the best. Forbes defines toxic positivity as an extreme version of optimism that typically shuts down, avoids, or dismisses negative experiences and emotions, forcing a cheerful front, usually by repeating vague sentiments. This is not the same thing as simply choosing to have a positive outlook despite bad circumstances. It is ignoring or downplaying those circumstances in a way that more closely resembles escapism or denial than seeing the glass half full. It is harmful to the individual, as psychologist Dr. Aaron Engel explains. Toxic positivity causes one to feel like their own emotions are invalid, gives a false sense of control over circumstance, limits emotional understanding, and can impact an individual's ability to cope in a healthy way by internalizing blame around having negative emotions. The Bunnybird Society is built on toxic positivity. It is their literal mantra. The bunny who worries grows heavy and slow. To fly with the flock, one must learn to let go. Be content and with joy, lay your fears to rest. The bunny who smiles suits the bunny flock best. Translation: ignore any potentially worrying problems and Stepford smile through it. Speaking of Stepford, if you are unfamiliar with the term Stepford smile, it comes from The Stepford Wives, a 1972 novel by Ira Levin that has been adapted into film twice, once in 1975 and once in 2004. The story focuses on a successful young woman named Joanna who moves her family to a seemingly idyllic town called Stepford. However, the very things that make the town so idyllic twist to become a source of sinister suspicion and paranoia as Joanna tries to figure out why all the women behave like they're in an ad for cleaning products 24/7, always cheerful and smiling. Hence the trope name, Stepford Smile, the projected image of perfect happiness and contentedness, which is an act in order to be accepted by society. There's also a pretty famous twist in the Stepford Wives, but that's not important to the comparison I'm making here, so you shall remain unspoiled for that at least. The Bunnybird flock is Stepford, and Princess Aster has spent her entire life believing the message that it preaches about smiling through any sensible concern and ignoring problems. After all, Bunnybirds are supposed to be joyful and peaceful at all times. They are supposed to have lovely dreams and visions, which is only possible if they are calm and content. What reason would a small, cute, fluffy little bunnybird ever have to be upset, angry, or sad? Enter Carlin, who is the polar opposite of Princess Aster. Carlin does not smile unless she really means it. Carlin is constantly getting up to no good, called the Scarlet Scoundrel by the flock, a rogue bunnybird trickster who almost added renowned thief to her reputation before Aster interrupted her heist. These two are as different as possible, not only in terms of personality, but also design. Princess Aster is a pure white bunny, slender and sleek. Carlin is varying shades of red and orange, rounder and fluffier, less clean from a line perspective, with heavy eyebrows that push her expressions much further than Aster's. Aster is a princess. She is neat, pretty, and well-mannered. Carlin, by contrast, has a much more rugged look about her, while still being a cute bunny, and a gender-neutral name. Readers picking up the book for the first time might be well forgiven for thinking that Carlin is a boy at first, from her rambunctious antics, attitude, and stockier features, these characters lacking the usual long eyelashes for girls designs so often seen in other visual media. And beyond the visual appeal of these designs, I would dare say that these were very deliberate choices. Bear with me here, because this is one of those times that I don't think I have a good way to transition between talking points, but if you just hang in there, I promise I'm going somewhere with this. One of the first surprises Carlin offers to Aster and the reader is her ability to breathe fire. This is, of course, a known ability of dragons. They're rather famous for it, and Carlin picked up on the fact that anyone can breathe fire if they put all their emotions into their breath, which leaves Aster flustered because bunnybirds aren't supposed to feel things like that. They're supposed to bring joy, not destruction. They aren't supposed to be able to defend themselves from danger, but rely on stronger species to protect them. A bunny bird who can channel her emotions into power and wield that power to defend herself is a foreign concept to the Stepford-esque flock, because it goes against the societal expectations of femininity. Circling back, let's look at Aster again. She is a princess. She is a pure white rabbit. A Snow White rabbit, if you will. Her job is to be happy and cheerful and bring joy to others at all times, regardless of how she feels. She must push down her own concerns, worries, fears, and frustrations to serve the emotional needs of others with a smile, precisely like the Stepford Wives, which can be read as a satire of the romanticizations of 1950s gender roles in the face of the second wave of feminism in the 60s and 70s. She cannot breathe fire because that would require expressing all her emotions, and her range of expression is limited by societal standards. Dragons, however, can breathe fire, because dragons, which are large and powerful, are allowed, even expected, to display their emotions in large and powerful ways. When Carlin breaks societal and gender roles, she claims this power for herself as well. And after Aster goes through her arc and accepts that bad feelings are okay, she also learns to breathe fire. She reclaims the power of her emotions by unshackling herself from toxic positivity. Also, it's a smaller example, but feet is included in this breaking of societal norms. Throughout the journey, there are several times when feet references what sand dogs are supposed to do or act like. Once Aster has started to overcome her own conditioning, she is able to reach Feet by saying that, as a sand dog themselves, Feet has a say in what sand dogs do. There is no point in going along with rules or traditions that only serve to create an unfulfilling life, and Feet has the power to reject those expectations which make them uncomfortable or unhappy. So what is the takeaway from Bunnybirds and its critique of toxic positivity? Should we all instead be cynical, as Carlin is at first? No. At least not without reason. The answer to toxic positivity is not no positivity, it's healthy optimism. And that includes being able to recognize problems and talk about them openly and honestly, without the expectation that the listener is going to provide a Band-Aid solution. And that's how Bunnybirds ends. Aster and her father are able to have a real conversation that isn't hijacked by King Bluebell's scripted, toxically positive responses to Aster's concerns. They agree that it will take some practice. You don't overcome a lifetime of societal conditioning in a day, but he and the rest of the flock are moving toward more healthy communication and emotional expression, instead of repressing and bottling up every negative emotion they have. All this to say that Bunnybirds offers an amazing examination of toxic positivity and the harm it causes through both textual and subtextual means, and this elevated the book for me. I think that as we enter an era where open communication and healthy expression of emotions will hopefully become more and more valued, especially with the rise of practices like gentle parenting, which I think would be better described as communicative parenting, books like Bunnybirds are going to be great stepping stones for kids and young teens to begin to vocalize their thoughts and feelings. Would I recommend Bunnybirds? Absolutely. It gets top marks across the board, and honestly, there's even more media analysis that I could dive into, but I sense that this video is long enough, and I don't want to muddy any of my points by starting a new conversation. If you haven't read Bunnybirds yet, please do yourself a favor and grab it. For a full-color graphic novel, the paperback price is surprisingly affordable, and it's available anywhere you can get books online. I've linked a few places down below for your convenience. And if you have read Bunnybirds, leave me a comment answering the following. If you were a bunnybird, what would your coat and wing patterns be? I personally have a fondness for corvids, so I'd be a black and white magpie bunnybird. Thank you so much for watching, and a special thank you to my patrons. If you'd like to see your name here or in the description below, please consider joining my Patreon. Your support means so much to me and allows me to continue making content. If you want to support my content in different ways, consider buying my books, donating on Ko-fi, subscribing to the channel, or even just giving this video a like and comment. Any and everything is appreciated so much. Keep growing till next time, Rose Garden!